Welcome to Landon Live. Today we have TV and film prop master Scott Reeder. Scott, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to have you on the show.
All right. Sorry, pardon the mess.
No worries, no worries. So now we met each other through TikTok, where you have a great following. Go ahead and share your story on how you got into this business, because it's such a neat thing.
Well, it was totally by accident. Of course, I was during the lockdown. I had nothing to do. My daughter showed me TikTok and what it was, and I saw someone telling a dad joke on there. So I thought, well, I can do this. I'd dabbled around in dad jokes, so I just for fun, posted one, and maybe got 2 views on it, and then the next one I got maybe 10, and I got a like. So it just slowly escalated.
Adrenaline rush. Yeah.
And then by June I had a decent following for the dad jokes, and into July, and then I got back to work. I started doing commercials in July, is when they started opening up Texas a bit. I did some State Farm commercials, and then went into an Amazon show called Panic. And that's when I decided, when we were prepping that I would add in some prop content. And that's when it took off.
So merging the props with, and so today people that follow you at Scott Prop and Roll on TikTok or Instagram know you for the prop integration and the pun, which is just such a great blend and makes for fun content. What have you been working on lately with everything going on?
Lately, I've been doing Walker, the reboot for the CW network, and we started airing last week. And the second episode aired yesterday. So it's the ratings have been incredible. So looks like, cross my fingers, that we may be doing this a while.
That's phenomenal. What is it like? How does that work as a prop master from your position going into a show? Do they collect kind of the team and are you with them from the get-go, or are you a separate company? How does that work when they're starting off like a reboot or even a show and they need props?
Well, no, I'm freelance, but when I get hired by a film company, I'm on their payroll, and I'm hired to do that job, and I then seek out a good solid crew, a lot of them that I've been working with for years, because I do television and I'll do features. I'll do like 12 episodes of a streaming show, then go do a feature. I really like mixing them up. TV's great, but the grind can get, a little tiresome, and it's nice going on to a feature where, just an example, on a television show, we'll shoot 8 pages in a day. On a feature, you'll shoot 2 pages. So the pace is much slower for features, and you have more time to, really work on the details. Whereas in television, you tend to you're kind of forced to gloss over certain things because of the crazy pace that you're doing.
So, one of the most interesting things about your TikTok content is all of the props that you would never think they would need to make a prop for. Can you talk about some of the, the common go-tos for, what you do?
One common thing that people don't think of is, I don't know if when you watch a reality TV show and you're seeing a parking lot and you see all these cars and they blur out the license plates. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
So in television, we don't want to blur out, or for a fictional show, we don't want to blur out license plates. So what we will do is we make plastic plates that we have the combination of the letter number combination doesn't exist. So I believe, like in Texas, this would all be numbers. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? We add
Right.
the last four would be numbers, not letters. So that's So this will never be a real license plate number. Because lawyers don't want to see someone else's plate on a
Sure.
car, fictional car. Yeah.
Wow.
Especially if that person's a serial killer or something.
Yeah, really. Wow. So what does a typical day in and being a prop master, what does that look like? Is every day different? Like what's kind of to be expected?
Okay. Typically, our day starts with my day starts. I pretty much do the day shift, even if my crew is gonna take like today. I started at 8 a.m. My crew started at 11,
Hmm.
and they'll be filming till probably right around midnight tonight. But I'll take off earlier because I started earlier. But me,
Hmm.
I'll break down the script. I'm given a script.
Hmm.
I'll make a big prop list, scene by scene. I'll meet with the director and the producer and say, well, okay, this is what I have to spitball how much it'll cost. If
Sure.
we've got a guy pulling out a knife and is going to swing at a guy, I've got to have I know I need a rubber knife as well.
Hmm.
If he's stabbing somebody, I have to have a retractable. If so, yeah, or if
How do
he's
you do that? Is that based on
just
like per episode? Like you give them like a budget breakdown per episode? Is
yes,
it per episode?
every episode, yeah, because they're all different. So each
Sure.
episode, they try to get me to stay in a certain pattern, but it's definitely a case by case basis. So I'll then I start shopping it, and I have a buyer that works with me. I start calling people. I need, I need a badge for a certain police department. We just the ball starts rolling, and we just start putting check marks by the list of what we need.
Wow.
And a lot
So,
of it we already have.
mhm.
The first episode is the hardest of a new show because you're establishing all the characters, and one like this has like 15 or 16 recurring characters. So some require glasses, ranger badges, belt rigs, like custom belt rigs with custom belts. All that takes time, and some require, they require wedding rings, watches, all of that on top of what is scripted as in props. So we do their personal props, get in. That all has to be signed off on by by producers, director, creators of the show. Costume designer has to sign off on the look of it. So it's just it's quite a dance, but I've gotten good at it through the years, and I try to communicate the best I can and get all the answers. So when we show up with our stuff on the
Mhm.
day of shooting, that everyone's already seen it and there's no surprises. But there's always surprises that pop up, but you try to limit those.
Sure, of course. So, before we went live, you were talking to me about how you have a team. What type of team members is it a generic team where they all kind of do the same roles, or are they, in your team for specific purposes? And how do you bring people on?
Well, I've had my prop assistant on set, my assistant prop master on set.
Mhm.
I've been working with him for 5 years. Mark, he's my lead guy on set, and then I've got two people that work under him. And one person that handles the extras,
Mhm.
predominantly all the background extras. So like if you're doing a street scene, their purses, the cup of coffee they're drinking, the license plates on the cars,
Mhm.
that is that position. And then I have a third that follows Mark around and you know uh, make sure that he has everything he needs. It like preps the following scene.
Sure,
So the
sure.
main guy will be working. They're filming, a scene inside a motel room, and then the next scene is going to be outside
Mhm.
for a shootout. My third will be pulling all the props, the hero props for the main actors, and getting those ready. So when they're done inside, they move outside. We have stuff ready. It's, we've got quite a machine figured out. Then offset, I've got a buyer, and then I will hire as needed people to mold guns, do rubber guns. I had to have special saddlebags. We have leather workers I'll hire on a case-by-case basis, doing leather work, or even like I needed a leather journal the other day, and she made me an incredible leather journal that was, hand embossed, and had it in like 3 days. So the speed that we have to have things done is the trick.
Yeah, I can imagine. We have a question here from our YouTube commenters. Xander commented, "What is the most expensive prop you have used or maybe made for a?"
Oh, if I can remember this name, well, the most expensive prop, I did a movie called Mad Money with Queen Latifah, Katie Holmes, and Diane Keaton. And I can't remember. There was this a duffel bag that was like even like more expensive than Louis Vuitton. It was the Chopard. I can't remember, but it was like a Louis Vuitton, but even more expensive. I think it was a $40,000 leather duffel that. But no, maybe that wasn't the most expensive. I had a watch on another show that was ridiculous. It wasn't $100,000, but it was like an $80,000 watch that I had on a TV show called GCB for the network. I think it was CBS. Oh no, ABC. It was called GCB, and that was Leslie Bibb and Annie Potts, and they were playing socialites who were like super uber rich, and so everything I had to be super high dollar. So those watches were ridiculous. I mean,
yeah, I can imagine.
Diamond encrusted, and I had to have security watch the stuff 24 hours a day.
Well, it's interesting. You see these interviews with these Hollywood personalities, and people ask them, are there ever props that you've stolen from set or keep from after the show or the series or whatever? Have you ever let people keep stuff, or has that ever happened where you're like, yeah, they wanted to keep this gun because they used it in the series, or like whatever?
Only with the producer's permission. It's
Sure.
like as long as the higher ups sign off on it, they'll let the actors take a souvenir home, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's pretty neat. What is one of your favorite memories from your work?
Oh, well, that's tough. I've been at this like almost 30 years. So, I came on to a movie called Pitch Perfect at the last minute. Like day one, the prop master left the show, and I came in to replace. And that's always a rough position to be in because you don't know what you're jumping into.
Sure.
And so I literally got the script the night before I was supposed to start. I had to drive from Texas to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I read the script and I was like, this is really funny. I was like, this has some potential. And then
so you get the full script.
Oh yeah.
They don't see me like, wow, okay, cool.
So then I was like, this the actors were also awesome. I mean, Anna Kendrick, every one of them. Rebel Wilson was just, she would improv a lot. Now the script, don't get me wrong, what you're seeing is, mostly what's scripted. But Rebel would just enhance it, and then she would throw in these zingers that she'd add on top of the dialogue, and she was pretty impressive to watch.
Wow.
So that was but then again, I did a movie. It hadn't come out yet. It comes out February 12th, real soon. Okay. It's called Breaking News in Yuba County. That's directed by the guy that did The Help. Tate Taylor, and we had Aquafina, Wanda Sykes, Matthew Modine, Allison Janney is the main character, Ellen Barkin, a ton of actors, and Aquafina. I don't know if are you familiar with her?
No, I'm not.
She was in Crazy Rich Asians, and
Oh,
she and the Farewell most
mhm.
recently. That was, I think it was up for a Best Picture. I'm not sure, but you know, she came to fame on YouTube rapping. But when you watched her act, you would have thought she was like stand-up comedian improv, because her and Wanda Sykes, like toe to toe, were hilarious and were just throwing zingers right back at each other, and that was an amazing experience. And the director was kind of had the same mentality, and he would make up stuff at the last second and say, well, why don't you say this, and they would throw it out, and it was just, but it was amazing, an amazing collaboration. That movie, you know, check it out. It's going to be like I said, February 12th in theaters and HBO Max, so it's
Okay.
one to look out for. Breaking news in Yuba County.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
sure.
I'm scared. I don't want to give away any spoilers.
Sure.
But,
Okay.
but
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'll definitely have to go see that.
It's a dark comedy, so if you don't like blood, don't go see it. But it's really funny.
Well, yeah, that sounds great. I'm curious, do you work directly with the actors, or do you just, okay, so you're like, here's your prop for this, or this is your prop for this scene, or is it all like kind of laid out on the table?
Yeah, it depends. For features, I work the set, so I'll do 100%, get all the prep done, like 8 weeks before filming. And then I'm on set and I'm the one handing the prop to the actors. In television world, it's totally different. I've got my set guys. I feed them all the information they need. I get them the props, and I do work with the actors in prep, and I'll get with them on, finding out what they want for their character. But I'm not, on set all the time. I'll start set off sometimes.
I'm sorry, but I have to cut in here because you said what they want for their character. So that's something does that vary from the script, that they say, well, I've done some character research, I think that the character would have this, and you have to have it made? Or how does that work? Okay.
Yeah, it's very collaborative. I mean, unless the creator of the show says absolutely not, I do not want that person wearing glasses, or absolutely not, they should have a rubber watch band instead of a leather, but typically the directors will say, or the creators of the show will say, find out what the actor wants, and then let me know, and so I'll take the order and get options, and but like here on our show here, you've got the lead actor Jared Padalecki, and he's also executive producer, so he tells me what watch he wants, I'll get it.
Right, of course. Have you ever? What was like the craziest demand, like for like a prop?
Oh wow! It'll probably come to me like tonight, and I'll pop up in bed and think, oh, why didn't I? But I can't think of anything. I mean, there's lots of crazy stuff, but well, I mean, the craziest was probably Pitch Perfect doing the vomit scene. That was because it was, and now don't get me wrong, I've done vomit scenes before, but that was, like cartoonish, where we had this hose attached to Anna Camp, and it's just soaking the whole crowd and the audience. And then at the end of the movie, she throws up again and soaks everybody. And I had to have this huge puddle, and it was like V8 splash and applesauce is what we used. This huge puddle, and then I had this actress that had to lay in it and do snow angels. And
right, I remember that scene.
I'm watching the monitor, and I'm looking over at the actress doing that, and I'm like, this is my job. That was
Yeah, what is that? That must be so cool to see it go from the script, and you're like, oh, I can see how this to like the final thing when you got it. I mean, man, that's
So there are definitely those moments of I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this, to just play with toys, or
How many times did you have to test that? I mean, were there problems with like the tubing or the hosing or the positioning? Because the camera has to be just right for all the look.
Well, we have special effects. They jump in and do a lot of that with they'll hook up the tank, and then I'll help with the mixture and finding out what works, what looks best on camera. And like before I'd gotten there, the original guy had used like Clamato or something like that.
Okay.
Clam juice, and that just it made people want to gag. So we don't want people really gagging. So we switched it to V8 Splash, and that smells a lot better, more fruity. So it's trial and error on a lot of the stuff, and a lot of troubleshooting.
Comment here. Let's see. What is the difference between a wardrobe and props? This is a good question.
Wardrobe. That's all the clothing. I don't have to do the clothing. I'll do rings, watches, sunglasses, eyeglasses. If it's a helmet, typically like a motorcycle helmet, I'll do that. If it's then it starts getting a gray area with, I will do like tactical gear. If we've got a SWAT team going in, I'll do the tactical vests, but then that's kind of getting into their neighborhood because it has to match with the pants. So I work closely with the costume designer, and we kind of we'll work together on stuff like that. But yeah, typically if it's worn, if it's clothes, something that has to be fitted, that's costumes. And they do hats. I do helmets. I know it sounds weird, but that's how it is.
Yeah, it's cool. What's one of the coolest props you've been able to find or make or bring on for a piece?
I helped design the skull scraper from Machete. That's the Danny Trejo, Robert De Niro movie. We had a bunch of people, like Don Johnson was in it, Lindsay Lohan. That was a Robert Rodriguez movie, and so that was, I don't know how graphic I can get as far as it was really, it had some really gross scenes, but I'm reading the script and it says, Machete is trapped inside this surgery room of a hospital, and he grabs a skull scraper, and which is has a large menacing blade on it. And that's pretty much what the script said. And he jumps on a gurney that has an oxygen tank attached, and he uses the skull scraper to hit the valve off the oxygen tank, and he blasts out the door through the hallway of the hospital, heading toward a bad guy who's firing at him with the machine gun. And he uses the skull scraper, and he slits the guy's belly open, uses his intestines to rappel out the window. I'm reading the script and I'm like, oh my God. I'm doing that. This is hilarious. And I want to do this movie just to see if we pull this off. And it turned out really good. It was funny.
That's great. Have you ever had something where you're like, you sign on for it and you're like, wow, this is like so over my head. We have to bring on more help, or, this is going to take longer because of, could you give us some examples?
I'll like Friday Night Lights, where we're doing like a championship football game, and they're telling me they're going to try to have 20,000 extras. That's where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to need more help. So I'll bring in, a lot of, we call them day players, where you'll find, you'll have a list of people that live in the area. That a lot of times the day players I use will mainly do commercials. And every once in a while, they'll come fill in when I need help, but there's a pretty good commercial market, actually, where you are in Dallas and in Austin. So I'll bring people in from commercial world to day play. And so like for a crowd scene, I'm the one responsible for the on-camera drinks, the foam fingers, the the little fan megaphones, all the cheerleaders on each side. I dressed the sidelines and all the referees, but also up to the press box. I got to have people in the press box with pens and microphones and pretending to be DJs and the whole canvas. I got to fill it with people doing things. And so so a championship football game is just a lot of stuff. And I bet there were times where I probably had a dozen people helping me with that.
What is the most convincing prop that you have or that you've made? I mean, they're all fairly convincing, but is there one that you're like, wow, this is like really?
Yeah, I wish I had one here. There is a company out of California that molds guns and knives. What impresses me most is something that this company makes. You won't know it's not a real gun until you touch it.
Right.
But, now this one has been beat up, and it's all right, but it's it's seen better days. But there are some that are just you can't tell until you.
So what is that? What is that made out of?
It's rubber.
Okay.
So it's like I said, this one's worse for wear, but it's made out of a. I don't know if you can see me squeeze there.
Yes.
Squeezing it there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a metal armature that goes all the way down, or it might be it's either metal or wood. People do it differently, so where it won't be floppy and look stupid.
Sure.
But soft enough to where it's not going to kill somebody. Because stuntmen, they're not trying to do a direct contact hit. They're really trying to fake it.
Sure.
And they just like when you see a fist fight, they're pulling punches. They're not necessarily connecting. Well, it's the same with a frying pan or the butt of a gun. You're supposed to fake it, but sometimes they accidentally connect. So that's why you want a rubber gun in case. Because might hurt them, but it won't like permanently maim them.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Do you have any funny like mishap stories from sets?
Oh, funny mishaps. Well, they have this thing called craft service on a movie or TV show, and that's the person that has cold drinks and snacks for the whole crew in between meals.
Sure.
And so they typically have this big rolling cart with pneumatic tires, and they roll it. It's real close to camera. We were filming on a golf course, and we were kind of at the top of the hill, and the craft cart with all the snacks went down accidentally, almost hit the camera, past the camera, and like into the pond. And but yeah, so we were all having fun with that, called it a snack-tastrophe. And
wow. Yeah, that's great.
There was a major snacksident on set today. But there's a lot of things happen. And one time my prop truck, the driver went down a road he shouldn't have, and the tree was too low, and just like peeled back the roof of the truck. So those things happen.
Sure.
I don't know. There's a million stories. Yeah, you don't want to hear all of them. But
yeah, we have
I need to sit down and make a list of the top 10. But
that'd be a great TikTok or YouTube video, like the top 10 mishaps. Kimberly commented, what was the best/worst dad joke you've ever told?
The best / worst? I don't know. That's kind of subjective because I know they're bad. Number one, don't think I don't know they're bad, but they still crack me up. You know.
Oh yeah.
Like the one I'm proud of is, and it's really bad, was where does a cow fart come from? The derriere. You know, but like the dairy air. Yeah. I love playing on words. So I like that one. One of my favorites is, you know, my wife's mad at me. She called me lazy. You know, I didn't even do anything. So that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And typically my wife's like off in the corner saying, yeah, you're lazy.
Well, how many TikToks do you shoot a day? Like, do you do them in a batch, or do you just do kind of like what you can get to?
I don't shoot every day. I try to do like the jokes. I'll try to do in threes because it's just, you know, I'm working 14-hour days on this show. You know, it's difficult to find time to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily post I try to post every day, but I'm at least every other, and then I'll try to double up and, you know, try to make it where it'll average out one a day. But, you know, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. The weekends are when I try to knock out more jokes on Sunday where I have time to, you know, to do them.
Yeah. Of course.
You know,
so you said you've been doing this for over 30 years. You know, that's amazing. What got you into this, and what, you know, how did your career get to the point where you became prop master? Because that's, I mean, you had to work your way up to that, I assume.
Well, I started out, I mean, I've done a lot as far as, I haven't just done props. I started out working as a PA on a movie, just an intern basically on a movie in 1989 in Denton, Texas, like north of where you are.
Yeah.
And then after that, I got a job at the North Texas Film Commission where I learned how to location scout, and I would take pictures of locations. The reason I got that, I wanted that job, the internship, was I was the first to find out when a producer was in town. You know, so I would know when a job was happening, you know, months before other people would. So that was how I'd get my foot in the door. I worked on karaoke music videos. I was a camera PA for like the summer after I graduated college. I did nothing but I was working for Bud Light. I was on the Bud Light film crew, and we shot in 148 bars in the summertime, and that's how I learned camera. I learned how to pull focus. Then I got into props I'd already done props a bit while I was in college. Then I got on Walker Texas Ranger, like around 93, and just kind of fell into props, but I always wanted to, you know, do more. Through the years I've written and directed a couple shorts. I wrote and directed a feature back in 98. My gosh, 23 years ago was my first feature film, and, you know, did the festival circuit with it, and, you know, but I just, then I decided to settle down and have kids. And, you know, so I've just I had already been prop assisting for a long time at that point, and decided to make the jump into prop master, you know, and it was, I'm happy with my decision because I've got great kids, a great wife, and I have a lot of fun in Austin, Texas, and it's a great film community here. Really is.
Oh, so that's where you're based out of?
I'm based out of Austin. I mean, I travel when I have to. I did, I did Nosferatu in Rhode Island the year before last, the AMC series in Jamestown, and I was able to bring the family with me, and that was a lot of fun. You know, so it's a fun life. I like it.
Scott, what's it like being brought on for the beginning of a project and it taking off, and seeing that, you know, whether it's a movie series, or it's like a TV or a streaming series?
Oh, it's great. I've been fortunate because I know a lot of people that they'll do a pilot and it won't get picked up. They'll do a pilot and it won't get picked up. I've done a couple pilots that haven't gotten picked up, but my track record's been pretty good as far as a lot of stuff I've done has gotten picked up. So I'm kind of a little spoiled in that respect. With Friday Night Lights, I did the pilot to that.
Yeah.
GCB, what was it? I did the pilot to Parenthood. Now, I didn't do the rest of it because I went to California and did that. We did that in San Francisco, and then they shot the series in LA, but I didn't want to move to California, so I went back to Texas.
Sure. What is the whole industry look like under COVID?
Oh, that's a great question. It's we're much more careful. We wear masks in the office. I mean, literally, I can't move the camera right now or so it'll fall apart. But I've got a wall of plexiglass around my desk, and so I'm allowed to take my mask off when I'm by myself. My assistant, he's not here right now, but he's got a wall of plexi around his desk, and as long as you're in your cone of silence, I call it,
right.
You can take your mask off, and he's like 12 feet from me. But
Sure.
if you're definitely anywhere else, we've got to it's masked up. We test every day.
Mm-hmm.
We the protocols they're constantly wiping down everything. I have like UV sanitizers on the prop cart.
Oh, okay.
That will put the phones in. Anything the actor is going to touch or hold, we wipe them down, and then we put them in a UV sanitizer, just for good measure. And so,
are there any props you have to like clean a special way because of the way that they're built?
Yeah, just like phones, I'm leery of wiping. You don't want to wipe a phone case down with alcohol because then the paint will come off, or it'll mess up the finish on stuff. So that's why we use the UV sanitizers, and we'll use like a vegetable. What is it? It's a plant-based sanitizer that's like the same equivalent of a Lysol, but it does stain stuff, and we'll wipe it down with that, and we'll UV on top of it. And we've got whittled it down to where we just try to have one prop assistant on set at a time. My one go-to guy, and none of my other crew will enter the set, because a lot of times we'll film on stage, and that's just a little 150 square foot space with camera, sound, actors, director. We try to limit the people that go in, but
So you said have you done commercial? You've done commercial work, right? For commercials.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what is the biggest difference from like a commercial to like doing props for a commercial to a series to like a movie? Is there a difference, or are there minor?
There's a big difference.
Okay.
Biggest difference for commercials is the prop guy doesn't have to deal with director's chairs. Like on a feature or television show, my department has to provides all the director's chairs and make sure everyone has a chair out. And commercials, the production assistants do that. So that's that's one of the best things about working commercials.
Yeah.
Commercials. A lot of times commercials don't have prop guys. So a lot of times when I do a commercial, I'm actually the art director. So I'll art direct commercials. I have prop mastered some big, big monster, big budget commercials will bring on a prop master, and, I'll do those as a prop master. But a lot of the commercials I do as an art director, where you're designing sets, you're doing, everything. In commercials, the art director does props and set decoration and the design. So that's what's fun. That's why I like hiring people that have worked art department in commercials, is I know they've done a little bit of everything. Yeah, that's, and special effects. Because on a medium to lower budget commercial, your art department person is doing props, special effects, animal wrangling, you name it. I mean, it's you're not doing costumes, but you're doing anything that's not grip electric camera or costumes.
Right, right. So how does that work? Like, do they have like when you're bringing someone onto your team, do they give you a resume, or are they like, here's a gallery of my past work, or how does that work from like a traditional job and bringing someone in?
Well, I typically only hire people that I've known and been watching for a while, that I know that like I rent props to other shows, so I know what all other shows are going on and what
Sure.
commercials are going on, and that's kind of how I meet people, and I see how long they're at it. If they've done 10 or 20 commercials, I'll give them a shot at day playing on my show, and then
Mhm.
if they kind of like the format that I'm doing, I'll bring them on longer, and then eventually, you know, if a full-time position opens up, I'll consider them. But I rarely cold hire someone that I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, completely. Yeah. Know whose work you've seen out there, and that's been working hard to it. And yeah.
Yeah,
Have you ever?
because resumes can be deceiving. Yeah, and
Oh,
I'm
of
not
course.
saying I don't. I mean, I do consider resumes,
Mhm.
but it's also, I also, on top of it, you like to see how people perform. Yeah,
Sure, sure.
but
Have you ever
sometimes
done a Super Bowl commercial?
a Super Bowl commercial.
Mhm.
Is that yeah, I have. I did uh the it was a Barry Bonds commercial with Hank Aaron, who just died last week. Hank Aaron had hit the what, I forget. He broke Babe Ruth's record or something. So, I got to shake his hand, and that was kind of a legend.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. But yeah, so that was the did I do? I feel like I did another Super Bowl commercial. I did one directed by David Gordon Green, who did Pineapple Express. Is that right? It was an Acura commercial or something. It was a car commercial. So I've done car Super Bowl commercial, and I guess the baseball Super Bowl commercial
Yeah.
was Charles Schwab, I think.
Okay.
I've done a gazillion. I did all the uh, Jake from State Farm. I just assisted on those. All the Jake from State Farm commercials that are out now.
Sure. Sure.
We shot all those in July, and with Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and all that. Those are fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah. So what's the turnaround time on those from when you're called to do them, and then you shoot them, and then you.
Well, features take forever to edit for some reason, and to be released, and then they have to come up with an advertising plan and a marketing strategy and all that. So like Breaking News in Yuba County, we shot that in the summer of 2019.
Okay.
Uh, uh, and it's just now coming. I'm sure COVID had something to do with it. It might have been out a little sooner.
Sure.
But a television show, a streaming show, like the Amazon show I did last year, it still hasn't it hasn't been released yet. I guess because they, how the streaming services do, they'll drop them all at once. So
Right.
they've got to, get them all perfect, and then they drop them all. So that might be why that takes longer. But like right now, what we're filming for network television, or basic cable, or whatever CW is, what we're filming now will probably be airing in 6 weeks.
Okay. Sure.
And I've
Does,
been on.
does
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, in commercials, it's typically a month or two before. It doesn't take them that long to cut them
Yeah.
together.
Cool. Does being prop master ever get chaotic? Are there any chaotic aspects of your job, or is it more the people that you bring on? You're like, we need this in this time frame, or something like that.
Oh yeah, it gets chaotic. Yeah,
Mhm.
weather. It seems to always be weather, because we'll have a schedule, and the assistant directors will do an incredible job of scheduling out, coming up with a game plan for filming. And then all it takes is one rainstorm that lasts 2 days when you had planned to do exterior. And then all of a sudden they're saying, okay, well, day 8 is now day 2. And so basically when I say day 8, that's something that I thought was a week and a half away is now tomorrow. So I've got to, if I didn't have things planned or lined up, I'm scrambling for whatever, for the pink elephant or the 2-headed llama. Whatever it is they want. Invariably it'll be a food scene. Food scenes during COVID, you mentioned has COVID affected anything? It affects food scenes. So if you have a big family sitting together, they can't have masks on, right? All the actors.
Yeah.
And normally you would pass, hey, pass the mashed potatoes. Well, you don't want 4 sets of hands touching the mashed potatoes. So we literally come up with a choreography of, okay, Jared, you're going to grab the mashed potatoes and you don't pass those, Molly, you're grabbing the green beans, put them on your plate. So there's no passing. We just come up with stuff to feel like you feel like people are passing things around, but they're really not. And or they're leaning further to where when the camera is tight, you think they're passing the food, but they're really not. They're just setting the basket of bread, further up the table than they would, because it's just having to rethink things because you want direct contact, especially with food, and all that to be limited as much as possible. And that's been a real
You mentioned, Scott, a minute ago, weather. Has weather ever affected a prop or props that you built, and you're like, something happened where it?
Oh yeah, I've had things get soaked. Yeah. Or the one thing that happens a lot is I'll have a prop truck where that'll have the back doors open and a side door on the prop truck, and if it's just a light rainstorm, it's okay, and the doors can stay open. But sometimes the prop truck is a mile from the main set, and if it's like raining sideways, and you know what I mean, if it's a really bad storm, it just drenches everything in my truck, and and I'm racing to the truck to get the doors shut because that, but that kind of happens to everybody on the. But props are not as durable typically as a light or a grip stand. You know what I mean?
Right.
Those get wet, you wipe them down, oil them up, whatever. But if it's a one of a kind antique book, that we have calligraphy, whatever. That doesn't happen too often. You try to have at least 2 of everything.
Sure.
The popular saying in the prop world is 1 is none. You gotta have at least 2. And what's funny is if you're watching a food scene and you got a character eating an apple, sorry about that. If you got a character eating an apple, you got to have 20 apples, because if you do 20 takes, they'll take that first bite of the apple and then you just got to throw it away at the end of the take. So people are like, why do you have so many bananas? Because they're eating one. Because
think about it like that.
You do a wide shot, and then you go in for coverage, and then then you'll do 2 actors in one shot and then 1. But it's typically wide and then coverage, like. So,
wow. Has there been a prop? Has there been a prop that you had to modify or build that I don't know, had to meet some COVID regulation or something? Trying to think outside the box, something it's kind of like you mentioned the food scenes, which was interesting.
Haven't really had to have anything that meets COVID regulations. I think we switched from wooden director's chairs to aluminum just because they're easier to clean and disinfect that way.
Sure.
because I don't know. That's really the only thing I can think of. Yeah, it's really just about our crew's done a really good job of staying 6 feet. It's really hard to stay 6 feet when you're on a film crew and especially crammed in a room. But we've managed to adjust and come up with ways to do it. But as far as specific props, I can't think of anything that's changed. We still do the same thing. It's just how we present it and clean it and all that.
Of course, yeah. Well, what is your advice to those wanting to follow your career path and get into being a prop master in the industry?
Well, I would say, number one, try to get as much experience as you can. If you're in college, try to find out if there are any little independent short films, independent films. I literally just went out, I found out a movie was shooting in town and said, hey, I'll pick up trash. I'll work for free. And that's how it started. And then, within 6 months I was getting paid, but I put my time in,
of course,
getting experience. And I honestly think it takes a love for the craft. I loved movies. I went into this loving movies and I wanted to help, I wanted to know how it's done and how do they do that? How do they pull that off? So, having that love for films I think that's important. Because if you're just in it for the money, you can get burnt out pretty fast. You just gotta love what you do. I'd say try to get a production assistant is a good position. If there's a show coming to town, try to get they call them PA positions, and production assistants get to kind of learn a little bit about all the departments. So if you work as a PA, you can watch everybody do their thing and decide, well, what do I like costumes better, or do I want to do camera? Because to be there are.
Do they cast for PAs, or how does that work? Like, I know if they're in like an area, they have like these casting websites for like background people. But how does that work if you're trying to?
If you want to work behind the camera, you just need to go talk to the production manager or production coordinator. Throw together some sort of resume. Hopefully, you could have gotten some short films under your belt. Or worked in the theater department at your high school or your college. And, if anything creative that you've done, put that on the resume and, try to get, what I would try to do is, because they'll have art department PAs, is to say, I really want to go art. So if you have an art department position, that's what I really want to do. But don't turn down another position because that's a foot in the door. And, there are some people that will be working as a front office production assistant and they really want to do art. And I've seen them, they'll work a couple shows as that front office, just answering the phone for a few months and until a position opens up in another department or an art department or costumes or something that they really want to do. So it's just kind of, the whole paying your dues thing. And some people, some people still do projects on the side. One of my assistants is an incredible photographer and is an aspiring director of photography, and one of these days I'm going to lose him because he'll win a film festival and my boss one day. But that's and I support that wholeheartedly because there are a lot of us that are aspiring to do something else but still love what we do, but everyone, most people that have had any longevity in this business are really creative and have a love for it and, enjoy have a love for the craft.
Of course. What's the community like? Because like as a ventriloquist, we have a convention every year and it's a fairly tight-knit, I mean, it's, anywhere from 500 to 700 of us, but we're a fairly tight-knit community. What is it like in what you do? I mean, is it like you're with your team, and then sometimes you see another team, you're like, hey, what's up? But you're primarily with your team, or do you guys kind of?
Oh yeah, well, what I call the team is the whole crew. Because we all work together. Those of us here in Austin. I mean, it's nice to, every once in a while when I take jobs out of state, just to get a change of scenery. That's always fun. But the guys here in Austin are my family, and I love them. And they're that's especially when you get on a series, you become a tight knit group and family. It's like the original Walker. That was, by the end of it, we were like family. That was 196 episodes of that.
Amazing.
Yeah. Here's that's my, where's the camera? That's my Walker Texas Ranger 1995 ID.
Wow, that is awesome. Love that.
Which is actually, hold on, which this one's seen a lot more wear and tear than the 27-year-old one, because of COVID, you've got to wear this at all times, And this one, I never really had to use it. I just put it up in a drawer so it looks newer than my new one.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I had a lot more hair then.
Yeah. So where can people follow you and keep up to date on what you're up to?
At Scott Prop and Roll. And I'm pretty much just on TikTok and Instagram at the moment.
Yeah.
There's somebody posting that's on YouTube called The Prop Master, and they're using my profile picture and posting all my videos, but I'm about to get my actual channel going. So yeah, that's not really, I mean, it is me, but that's not my YouTube channel.
Yeah, you can you set up your channel and then start commenting on their videos and then take all their audience. Yeah,
that's just that's part of the game, I guess. I didn't.
Well, yeah, when you've got a big following, especially on social media.
I had no idea this was going to happen. So it all happened so fast, and I'm working at the time, so it's all I can do to maintain the Instagram and the TikTok. I mean, I just hit 100,000 followers on Instagram, and I still can't navigate Instagram. I really just don't know what I'm doing.
Instagram's funny because they're always adding aspects of the other social media platforms. So they've got the stories from Snapchat. They've got the Instagram Reels, which are like their version of TikTok. So they're trying to be an amalgamation of everything. But yeah, it's interesting to see the people that will go from your TikTok to your Instagram, and it's been neat. Have you ever gotten any cool questions from your followers that you're like, oh, that's neat? I never kind of thought about that. Or
it's actually helped my job a bit. So this
really okay.
I did a video on a prop keg because here in Austin, there's no, and it's the same way in Dallas too. You can't find a beer distributor to have a non-alcoholic beer in kegs. So we built this device that's kind of cumbersome, that you have to. It's a keg with a door in the side. I did a video on it where you put the CO2 and the keg inside of it to operate your keg. Then we'll pour the non-alcoholic beer in it. Well, on one of the commenters is a guy that owns a brewery in Missouri, and he said, "Hey, I'll send you some non-alcoholic kegs." And he has like all different. He's like 20 different flavors of non-alcoholic beer, going from IPA down to, his version of Miller Lite. So
sure.
So I ordered kegs from him, had them shipped. And so because of TikTok, I've been
able to network like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
This guy who's got a whole brewery of non-alcoholic beer. I didn't know that he existed. So yeah,
that's crazy. That's so neat.
Learning.
Exactly.
I don't know everything. I don't pretend to really.
Well, that's phenomenal. Well, you know, Scott Reeder, thank you so much for being part of Landon Live and for sharing your story and these insights. I'm excited to see what you do on your social media, and when you get your YouTube channel up, you'll we'll definitely tag it in this video so people can go follow and check it out and keep up to date.
Yeah, I've got some fun stuff planned coming up in the next few weeks, so we'll see.
Exciting stuff. Exciting stuff. Well, Scott Reeder, thank you so much for being part of this, and take care.
Landon, thanks so much for having me. Have a good
All right. Bye, guys. Take care.